Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the PTX Visionaries Podcast, recorded here at the Policy Center for the New South Studio on the UM6B campus in Rabat. My name is Sabrine Emran. I am Senior Energy Economist here at the Policy Center, and I am very happy to be moderating this episode. Today, we turn to one of the most exciting frontiers in Morocco's energy transition, green hydrogen. Over the past few years, Morocco has moved from royal vision to concrete Morocco green hydrogen offer, creating momentum that has attracted both global players but also national champions. But Morocco's ambition is not only to attract projects, it is to build a comprehensive ecosystem that ensures sustainability, competitiveness, and long-term leadership. To help us explore this topic, we are joined by two outstanding guests. To my right, we have Mr. Joaquín Rodríguez. He is head of MUEB. He is representing a global energy player that has shown and committed to producing green hydrogen in Dakhla, Morocco, with an eye on Europe's decarbonization targets. Mr. Rodríguez, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
To my left, we have Dr. Samir Rachidi, Director General of IRESEN, the Moroccan Research Institute for Solar Energy and New Energies. He's bringing a crucial perspective of research, innovation, and ecosystem building. Dr. Rachidi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
So, I would like to start with you, Mr. Rodríguez. So, MUEB has made Morocco a priority in the global hydrogen strategy. So, why exactly the choice of Dakhla? And can you tell us what makes it a uniquely competitive destination for large-scale hydrogen production and both exports?
Okay, thank you. And well, as a company, as an energy company, we have a priority, which is providing to our customers very competitive, decarbonized energy solutions. Mm-hmm. So we are developing both biofuels and e-fuels. Now, I remember biofuels are those coming from biological origin, so recycling oils and fats from second generation, so sustainable oils. And then e-fuels are those coming from electricity. Mm-hmm. So then when we look at the volumes that we needed to provide to the market and taking into account the obligations that we have under the European rules, but moreover in the global market under the IMO, so the maritime, let's say, sector, we needed to go beyond our current landscape, which is Andalusia, mm-hmm. where there is also a decent and very abundant renewable resource, and look around the world, the best locations where solar and wind can be combined. Why? Because to produce hydrogen and derivatives, these e-fuels, we need to run the plant as much as possible. So during the day, during the night, every day throughout the year. So we looked into many locations in the world where the combination of solar and wind was optimal, and Morocco is one of the top countries in the world.
Excellent.
But also, we looked at those countries where there are existing infrastructures and already regulations and also a strategy, a vision in place to promote these new energies. Mm-hmm. And we also think that Morocco is clearly positioned for its geography and also its resource as one of the top countries in the world. So we are very interested in developing the projects here.
Thank you very much for this insight, Mr. Rodríguez. This moves me to you, Dr. Rachidi. So now we have heard the industrial perspective. In your opinion, how does IRESEN ensure that research, training, and innovation keep pace with such ambitious projects? And how do you help transform vision into concrete science-backed implementation?
Well, thank you for this question. Indeed, IRESEN, as I identify it, is really at the crossroad of three words. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are part of the public ecosystem. We are backed by our Ministry of Energy, so we are public somehow, and we have two other pillars, which are R&D and industry. Mm-hmm. So we define ourselves as catalyzers, mainly. Think, if I may, and we played two major roles in the past. We play the role of a funding agency dedicated to funding projects and R&D when it comes to energy transition and decarbonization. And we we maintained really the pace of having both industry and academics and academia that is represented in the projects. And the second leverage of our action or our impact was also the impulse of a network of infrastructure, cutting edge infrastructure. I can cite Green Energy Park and the Green Smart Building Park, which are, let's say, a pre-industrial platforms that tackle technology at a very high, what we call in the jargon of innovation, technology readiness levels. And we've done this thanks to the big support of OCP and UM6P. And those two platforms are located in the ecosystem and the campus of Ben Greer. And currently we are also continuing working with UM6P for a third platform dedicated this time to green hydrogen and technologies and applications, which will be hosted in the industrial site of OCP in Jof Lasfar. So that will be our antenna there. And the idea is also to learn from what we have done in the two platforms, but the idea is really to do research with and by industry, and to shorten also iterations between those two words, and do really research that is useful for industry and the market, and also sense and also take the temperature from the industry and the market on what are the subjects that need to be investigated. So the idea is really to benefit from that, and we are also backed and supported by a very long list of public and other private universities. We are not alone. So the idea is also to build also on the capacities that are available in Morocco. When it comes to hydrogen, those 5 or 7 years we have been mainly tackling this aspect from R&D. But from the policy making, we have also supported the publication of the roadmap on green hydrogen back in 2021 with our Ministry of Energy and also the whole ecosystem. And the third point, I would say, in terms of industry, we have also supported and co-founded the Green Hydrogen Clusters, which is also an industrial venture that is having now plus 70 members, which is also trying to tackle issues and build capacity and network, and also a dynamic in order also to help Moroccan companies have shares in this business. And last but not least, we have also supported the promotion of this whole ecosystem with our partners, thanks to our flagship event, the World PTX Summit, and also our spin-offs events and publications that come around with it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rachidi, for completing the picture and the puzzle for us, both from industrial point of view, research and development, and also seeing what the picture looks like today. I would like a little bit to deep dive into the future, and from your own perspective, from the European perspective. So Morocco is emerging as a key player in the decarbonization targets that we have for 2030. So how do you see your projects contributing not just to Europe's needs, but also to Morocco's industrial sovereignty?
So, I think it's a very good question, because I think that when we develop new projects, we need to have in mind this energy trilemma. No? We need to develop sustainable fuels, but at the same time, they should be affordable, and they should help for the security of supply, energy security of the country where the project is developed. So we cannot develop a project only for export into Europe. We should be very careful that the project is perfectly integrated in the industrial development of the country. But of course, in connecting different continents, there is a mutual benefit, no, to accelerate. Because when we think of 2030, it looks far away, but for a project development, it's almost tomorrow. We need to be very fast in doing the engineering, the permitting, all the setup of the production facility to be up and running in 2030. So this is where we see that there is a sequence of projects to be developed that makes sense to both develop the industry, but at the same time make sure that we connect the right places. We think that initially we should develop projects that can help decarbonize the heavy transportation, because this is the short-term use of hydrogen that we see that is doable. We can produce out of hydrogen methanol, SAF for aviation. We can produce ammonia. Ammonia is good for the industry, but also for maritime transportation. It can be used as replacement of fossil fuels like fuel oil, but also it's an energy carrier. It's a way to move hydrogen from one place to another. This before there are more infrastructures in place, like hydrogen pipes, to connect also the production and the use of hydrogen for the next run, which is industry, heavy industry. We think about steel, cement, ammonia for fertilizers. Those are very, let's say, demanding of energy, but at the same time contributors to CO2 emissions that could be abated very quickly. And then we can go for other sectors where hydrogen require industrial transformation. Mm-hmm. So replacing one fossil fuel with green hydrogen is not so easy. We need a lot of research and we need the industry to be prepared. But in this sequence, we can make projects a reality very, very fast. In 2030, and this is where we think that these two, let's say, regions can combine efforts, we can benefit from the maritime sector. Mm-hmm. Morocco is a very strong player also. There are very important ports that can serve very long, let's say, routes and create green corridors. And this alliance between different big ports can help accelerate these projects by contributing to this sector's decarbonization that has a very limited impact in the final pricing of the goods being transported. And this comes again with affordability. We need to supply very competitive fuels, but at the same time to sectors that can pass through this small premium in a way that has no impact in the prices of goods. And this is where we think this can be done. And this is very well balanced because we can connect Morocco with, we have a very big port at the other side of the Strait of Gibraltar, but also with Rotterdam, with Germany, with other ports in the North and West Europe region. So, yeah, I think that we have a very clear sequence and we are very interested in accelerating as much as possible this transition.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rodríguez. Indeed, especially for developing countries, we do not only talk about energy transition, but really a just energy transition. And this is where the trilemma comes in very handy. And projects such as what you described, taking into account these elements are key for win-win partnerships between countries. I will now move to you again, Mr. Rachidi, and I would like you to expand a little bit about the partnerships that IRESEN has, not only with local institutions, local partners, but also international partners such as MUEB. And I'd like you to tell us a little bit how does it work in order to develop pilot projects, but also testing platforms, applied research, and also the support of large-scale development.
Well, thank you again for this question because we really appreciate partnership and collaboration. We identify it as part of our DNA, and we are really at ease. We don't like working alone in silos, and we, as I told you in previous question, the idea is really to be a part of this triangle between policymakers, industry, and R&D and academia. So I would say it's also a clear KPI in our strategic steering committee, our board of trustees. Partnership and international collaboration is really key. We create impact from this collaboration or international partnership in two ways. The first aspect, I would say, is building expertise and capacity. Mm-hmm. Through like 14 years now of existence, we have really a very dense and diversified network of partners, both research centers, universities, but also industry. And one important thing is also multilateral committees, technical committees, IEA committees, etc., which really make the link also between industry and policymakers. Mm-hmm. And we build on this partnership thanks to collaborative and innovative international projects. So thanks to those projects, we could also make a reality out of innovation and create and equip also our technology platforms with innovative and high TRL technology pilots and demonstration units. From the second aspect, I would say it's also part of our strategic priorities is funding. So, of course, we are part of a public ecosystem. So we have public money, tax. We are consumers of tax money, but we have also to leverage external funding. And with this, we are also proud to communicate on one of our KPIs, which is the leverage effect. For each dirham we got from the Moroccan tax money, we leverage in front of it 2 dirhams from the international collaboration, would it be public or private, which is really a good KPI for a team like us. So in a way, and concretely, to be also concrete with this, when it comes to hydrogen, we have succeeded in developing together with colleagues from UM6B 2 main projects. First one is a demo unit for green ammonia, but really small scale, not 100 megawatts probably. It will be around 4 megawatts of electrolysis capacity and 4 tons per day of ammonia production. And construction is ongoing. Hopefully commissioning will be there next year. It will be in Jorf. And also the second project we are also developing with the team is a small demo unit, again, megawatt scale, for methanol. This one is still under FEED study and will be probably commissioned by 2028. But the idea is really to put the first pillars and the first technologies there on one side, and also having industry and research there in a way that we could also do what is very important at this level, acquire data and process data, because now we have lots of demo units in the whole world, but demonstrations or units that are on the real conditions are not very common. So we have technically, I have opted to have a kind of simulator of grid, and in a way that we could simulate any site in the world in Jorf Lasfar, so that we could also be in a close partnership with the ongoing projects in Chile, in south of Morocco, or any other geography. And the idea also with that is to build capacity and train colleagues, future human capital that will work also together with the industry in those future projects of the Maroc.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Rachidi, for mentioning key pillars such as financing and partnerships. And I think this brings me to my next question. I'll be staying with you for this one. So when we mentioned the Moroccan green hydrogen offer and how it has moved us from a very sovereign vision to concrete action that we have on the ground, how do you think that IRESEN will be playing a key role from here to 2030 in order to help and ensure the contribution and the concrete implementation of the milestones that we have ahead?
Well, I would be really proud to share with you that even though we are not included in, let's say, in the decision-making process of Maroc, which is, by the way, very good for us as research to be able to work with all the consortia with no conflicts of interest. That would be really, really nice. But we have supported the Maroc and the committee at its beginning. We have also helped train it and training all the colleagues from the public sector, from the Ministry of Investment, Ministry of Energy, and all the other ministries and members of the ecosystem to build capacity and to demystify what is hydrogen. That was back in 2021 when things were really very fuzzy a little bit, and that was also our support to explain what is about technology. Joaquín has also spoken about some thresholds and challenges in technology, so that was also part of our job. Now, let's say we are focusing on preparing the ground, as I told you, trying to build this capacity, this infrastructure, and be ready to echo with the industry and also with the Maroc on what are the technology choices that should be, what are the hicks and that are the things that are not known, because when you receive an equipment, you receive a data sheet, but when you put equipments together and you have the buffer, the temperature, the dust, etc., things got a little bit complicated. This is why, of course, we still don't have very large scale deployment of hydrogen at the moment. So we position ourselves as a service provider to, of course, to the committees, different committees of the Maroc, but also to all the members and consortia that are on the process of application. And for this, we are also thinking of having probably with the industrial partners, probably small platforms that are anchored on the sites of those companies in order for it to be a kind of phase zero of all those companies or all those projects. The first electrolyzer that should be put there in order also to test the yield and the efficiencies with probably one or two windmill and some panels in order also to get going with the FEED studies that they are doing in the process of Morocco.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rachidi. I'll be moving back to you, Mr. Rodriguez. And this is rather a tricky question. I'm very aware of it. So, in your opinion, what are the most urgent and necessary enablers in order to reach competitiveness? Is it rather renewable energy, desalination, financing, regulation? I know that we need a mix of those, but if you could tell us the most urgent ones in your opinion.
I think there is one general, but it's not necessarily a Moroccan, let's say, problem. It's more a general, is to create the demand for these e-fuels in general.
Yes.
So we have proposed many ideas going from fiscal, let's say, support. So identifying products that have lower carbon content and providing somehow a reduction of taxes to those products to make them more attractive for final consumers, to implementing the obligations to those sectors like heavy transportation where the impact in the final products is very, very, very small. So not imposing obligations to sectors where an extra cost of energy may be disruptive. So make it progressively because technology will improve. And we are sure that in 2035, in 2040, hydrogen will be much cheaper.
Absolutely.
So we need to go through this, let's say, crossing the desert now, until we get there in a way that is, easy to digest by the market. This is urgent. But then we need to also prioritize the infrastructures. So we made some mistakes. I think in Europe there have been mistakes, like allocating subsidies to many, many small projects in the middle of nowhere, where there were no infrastructures to support the offtake of that hydrogen and the effective use of that hydrogen. I think that Morocco has made a very good job in understanding. I think IRESEN has done also a very good job in making everybody get to the same level of understanding of the priorities and concentrating the efforts in those locations where there is a minimum set of infrastructures that make big projects possible, because big projects are those that can make affordable, cheap, Absolutely. Let's say, e-fuels. So I think now we should continue in that direction. I think there is nothing that is urgent to be done in the sense of something new, but we need to make sure that the infrastructure, so port development, we need terminals where these products then can be moved out, ammonia, methanol, eSAF. Sometimes the production is in one place, the consumption is another. We should connect those, and the sea is the easiest way to move. Then we need hydrogen pipes, but we also need to develop the grid, electrical grid, because you can rely on certain, let's say, renewable capacity that is off-grid, but it's very difficult to balance an industrial plant, an ammonia plant, a methanol plant that should run base load with a flexible intermittent. So then you either put batteries, this makes very expensive. The grid is very good because then you can help also the grid to balance the intermittency of renewables with the electrolyzers. Electrolyzers are flexible and we need to test how much and how safe they are. But at the same time, you can also help from the grid to produce more hydrogen out of the electrolyzer, because in the country there are more renewable resources that are not necessarily collocated. So good grid planning that can accommodate more renewables and more demand, electricity demand for electrolyzers is very, I think, very, very good thing. And then, yes, of course, water is important.
Absolutely.
But it's not so. I think there is a synergy because you can develop good desalination plants that can use renewable power also and can exceed the water needs of electrolyzers, which is not so much. People think that you need a lot of water for electrolysis. It's not so much. So you can have a desalination plant that can be used for other purposes, industrial, agricultural, human, let's say, consumption, and a minor fraction can go to the electrolyzers, so make a bigger project that is, of course, more efficient.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rodriguez. I was saying on that note of balancing the needs, and I will go back to you, Mr. Rachidi. So in your opinion, how can Morocco balance its ambitions in terms of exports when it comes to green hydrogen, but also create an impact on the ground by creating local benefits, jobs, industrial development, but also ensuring regional equity thanks to this source of energy?
Well, I'm not sure if I would be objective or not when I speak about hydrogen, but in my opinion, as we tackle not only an industry but an ecosystem or a value chain, I think that this value chain ticks a lot of boxes. And to also echo what Joaquín has said, given also the potential that we have in terms of space and also of potential renewable potential, I think we could also keep up with both domestic needs from the industry, mainly for ammonia, for the fertilizer business, but also for the exports. In the roadmap we have published 3 or 4 years ago, the idea was kind of a ratio between 30 to 20% of domestic use and up to 70 to 80% to exports. Of course, exports now we have some questions about the demand, as Joaquín has recalled in his previous answers. But still, we believe that we have this capacity and potential to build there. When it comes to figures and impact, it's really huge. I mean, it's I don't know if you remember the numbers that were also communicated by the Offre Maroc committee. We're speaking about, for this first batch of projects of Maroc, we're speaking about around 30 billion of capex. I mean, at the end of the day. Thousands of jobs and also lots of value created both in country. Infrastructure also is a key word and key element that will be also benefiting from this endeavor, and of course. Exports will also help resolve also the commercial deficit and also have a strong economy when it comes to external externalities and also commodities flow when we see this in a bigger picture. More importantly, I would say it could domestically. That's also a kind of a dream that some industrial or experts in Morocco try to push a little bit. Is to revive the dyeing petrochemical industry in Morocco, especially with Samir. We could also those projects could help bring back this industry in a decarbonized manner or a defossilized manner by being also a powerhouse of producing methanol for maritime, for green corridors, but also ESA for the aviation business.
Excellent. I'd like now to conclude with one question that I will try to seize the momentum of the Power to X Summit in. And I would like from both of you to tell me if you had one strategic message to send about Morocco's green hydrogen pathway to international decision makers and investors that will be present at the Power to X Summit. What would that strategic message be? I'll start with you, Mr. Rodríguez.
I think the idea is to be fast.
Okay.
To be the first mover is very important. We named our project the COPA project, and it's for a reason, because we have this World Cup in 2030 hosted by Morocco, and this will be an event that will attract the attention of the entire world. I think it will be very relevant that Morocco positions itself in 2030 as one of the leading countries in producing these green molecules, because this is coming to stay. We will see bumps in the road, people becoming more skeptical, but there is no other way than the energy transition, and Morocco has a unique opportunity. It will attract industry. We know that in the short term, Morocco has a cheaper cost of hydrogen production that will probably help exporting. But in the long term, industry moves into where energy is cheaper. So there is an opportunity for Morocco to become a leader. And I think the strong message is to be fast, and this requires coordination. We need the permitting to be done very fast. We need the integration with the entire system, so all the infrastructures needed to connect the different pieces of these complex projects. But if the country takes this vision from His Majesty to make it a reality in 2030, that will be a unique opportunity, and we will be here, of course.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rodríguez. What about you?
Well, I would share with you a scoop, if I may, for this edition of the Power to X Summit. We, with the organizers and the committee, we would like also to bring to the table a kind of an advocacy. At the end of the summit, we would like also to echo a message to our main partners, which is Europe, a kind of a call action, and we are now under the umbrella of the Green Hydrogen Cluster, collecting suggestions from the industry and the developers. And the idea is also to express our feeling and our orientation when it comes to the European regulation. So the main issue for us is probably loosen a little bit. Our message for us is loosen a little bit the regulation. The job that has been done by the European Commission is really outstanding when it comes to regulation. Regulation helps also shape a market, but we think that we need probably to make a kind of a moratoire, yes, where we probably postpone the application of regulation or loosen up a little bit in order to let those first projects go in a little bit fast with some if not subsidies, but also subsidizing them legally and regulatorily speaking, so that we could not kill those first projects, first movers, and then probably time wise, increasingly we could add some regulation constraints depending also on the maturity of the business and also the number of the project that is online. So that would be our recommendation: regulation.
Thank you very much. So you would have heard it here for the first time from Mr. Rachidi, and we can retain here being fast, being among the first movers, but also adding flexibility to regulation when it's needed. So what emerged from this conversation is that Morocco's hydrogen ambition is both industrial and ecosystemic, such as Mr. Rodríguez highlighted that, and Morocco's importance to Europe decarbonization. And Mr. Rachidi also reminded us that innovation, skills, research are also essential for long-term competitiveness. So together you show that Morocco's royal vision is credible, holistic, and globally relevant, with the country's position in itself as a bridge between Africa and Europe in the hydrogen economy. So thank you very much to both. Thank you very much, Mr. Rodríguez. Thank you very much, Mr. Rachidi, for this enlightening discussion. And thank you very much to you also, our listeners, for joining us on this episode of Power to X Visionaries.